it's Laura Radulovich with Keller Williams Classic Properties, and I'm joined here today with Jason Harris with Guaranteed Rate. He is the #1 lender for closed transactions in the state of Ohio. Hi, Jason, how are you?
I am well, Laura. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. I wanted to talk to Jason today, a question that I'm getting pretty frequently from clients of mine that have a house, have owned their home for quite some time, have a good amount of equity in it, and need to buy another house for whatever reason, relocation or moving to another part of town, upsizing, downsizing, whatever. In this market, we cannot really write a contingent offer contingent on the sale of their house. So what conversations are you having with home buyers that have equity in their current home, need to buy a new one, and how does that process best work for them so they can use some of that equity for the down payment on their next house?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's probably the #1 situation that we're having conversations about on a daily basis. We see folks right now that have benefited from the strong appreciation that we've seen in the housing market. So they've often got substantial equity in their homes. They may have been in their house for 10 years, or they may have been in their house just for 2 or 3, and they've built up a ton of equity in the property. And so, they would love to buy. Ideally, they would love to use that equity to help them to buy. And so, as you mentioned, though, right now it's essentially impossible to make an offer, at least here in Central Ohio, with a home sale contingency. And so, a lot of the strategy discussion that we're having is around how can they make that next purchase and still benefit from all the equity that they've built up over the last few years. And so a couple of different strategies that we're looking at. The one option that we're doing is touching base with folks who are able to put down, let's say, as little as 5%. If they've got money that they've saved, from their own funds, checking, savings, investment accounts. The stock market's been very strong here over the last few years. If they've got the ability to put at least 5% down, they're able then to get in for a home purchase using that 5% of their own funds for down payment. And then once they get into the new house, if they can sell their existing home and receive that equity from the sale of their existing home, they can then actually pay that money down against the balance on the loan that they've just taken out on the new property. And we're able to do what's called a recast. And so in that case, we can reduce their monthly payment based on the new larger kind of after closing down payment that they've been able to put down. If they had to start off with PMI based on that 5% down payment, as long as they're able to pay down to that full 20% equity position, we can also remove the PMI from the loan. And so, it enables them to start off with a lower down payment, but then as soon as they get in the door, and of course in this market, get their house listed and sold usually very, very quickly, they're able to pay that balance down and kind of benefit from that equity that they've had in their prior home.
Okay, that's great to know. Are there any parameters with this? Are there any fees associated with this? I guess how quickly does this have to happen? And then how quickly does that change update their new payment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, as far as doing the recast, we like to see them make at least one house payment on the new mortgage in advance of processing the recast. So, often folks are able to sell their home so fast, they're able to have that money prior to their first house payment even coming due on the new property. And so we do ask them to make that very first house payment. Once they've done that, they can complete a recast. There is a $300 kind of one-time fee associated with doing that. But the nice thing, it does enable them to keep that same interest rate that they've been able to lock in at very attractive levels, and again, really reduce that monthly payment. So that's a strategy that we're having a lot of success with. The other thing with, a lot of folks right now, again, with the market being very strong, 401ks, most retirement plans do offer a short-term loan option that they can access funds from those accounts. And then, of course, as soon as they sell the home, get the money right back in and continue building for their retirement. So
Okay.
a couple of different strategies we've been able to take advantage of.
Do you know, are there generally, what kind of fees are associated? I know that's different based on everybody's investment accounts and their 401k plans, but do most of those account holders charge any kind of fees for that short-term loan, or how does that usually work?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we're not seeing, especially your larger employers will have, 0 to maybe a nominal $25 to $50 fee. Definitely something you'd want to consult with with your employer on, but it's usually a very low or even no cost option. I think under current tax law, you can borrow up to 50,000 or 50% of the existing balance, whichever is less.
Okay.
So it's a real efficient way for folks that have been able to save some money in the 401k. They know they've got a lot of equity in their existing home, to be able to access that 50,000 to help with an initial down payment on the new property. Again, when they sell the property that that they've been living in, they can pay that loan back. And then any of the extra proceeds, in many cases, they'll make more than that when they sell. They're able to use those additional funds to also complete a recast.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's great. I think that's going to be helpful for a lot of people to know. And that might even give some people off the fence that have just kind of been worrying, or that aspect has been keeping them from thinking about buying. So I appreciate the details and the time. I'm going to drop your information below so people can reach out to you, or they can reach out to me anytime, Laura@lauraradhomes.com. Thank you so much, Jason. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, thanks for having me, Laura.
Thanks. Bye-bye.